guest. Then we'll have our Raj come on, and then we'll have our Zoom. Samantha Zistatsis, I can't pronounce it right. Zistatsis from State of Washington, the State Committeewoman, King County, Washington Election Integrity Chair. Come on down. You want to unmute her?
I think I'm on. So good afternoon, and thank you for letting me share. As you know, Washington is a tough place for election integrity, but our committees are working every angle we can. I've got an engineering background, so I'm particularly interested in making structure and process improvements. So our state GOP just ran an initiative for proof of citizenship to be registered, and while it was well received and a great educational opportunity, we didn't get enough signatures due to lack of funds for paid gatherers and reluctance of businesses to host for fear of reprisal or violence. It is possible that another initiative will be filed for a June due date. Again, have funding issues. The state GOP has filed 3 lawsuits, which are stalled. Still alive. Hopefully we can get something going there. But we've recently had a private citizen file a suit against our largest county regarding the excessive redactions of public records requests. Very thankful that Harmeet Dillon has sued Washington State for the voter roll information. We know that in King County, around 40,000 non-citizens are registered to vote, but we're blocked from doing anything. They keep cutting off our access. Our data analysts in King County have found some really bizarre details from our last election. Several key races showed substantial evidence of tampering, and I think they've got it narrowed down to a specific day that it happened. Over 50% of the ballots had already been received and put into the system, which provided the basis for election night results. After that, the margins fluctuated wildly for no apparent reason, but of course, ultimately shifting to the left candidate. We begged the incumbent Seattle mayor not to concede so he could retain standing, but he did end up conceding. So unfortunate there. We do meet regularly with the county election staff, and we've been able to get some more access to data. It had been waiting until after certification to get precinct level data, and now we have that interim data. Hopefully we can act on that. We were able to have the county create signs to warn people about the post office delays and directing them to drop boxes. Now in Washington State, drop boxes are actually our most secure route. I know people don't like them in the rest of the country, but for us, this is the best way to do it. We now have 2 Republicans on the Citizens Election Oversight Committee, and we're trying to increase that here. We do have our King County Elections Director race coming up, and so we're looking for a candidate there that will be seen as really skilled in things like supply chain or organizational management. I don't know, maybe they're from a banking background. We need to be seeing this as needing the scrutiny of a bank, as if you were an armored car. Our ongoing projects, since we're blocked in so many directions, we're working to change public opinion. So if the administration is able to get some national changes made, Washington voters will accept it. For things like rejecting mailed ballots. So this is the statement I like to use. Why are we outsourcing the transport of our precious ballots to a federal entity over which we have no control, no transparency, no opportunity to observe, and no guarantee of transit time? And what about the lack of privacy, since the envelope with the name, address, and signature, and sometimes party preference, is scanned? We've talked about, I see on the chat, about people moving. Getting moved people off the voter rolls, even with the change of address, is just a disaster. So what we can do is engaging realtors, people in the moving business like U-Haul, to have available these change of address and voter cancellation forms readily available as part of a service. We're even considering looking at legislation that would make that voter canceling part of the purchase and sale agreement. To address the chain of custody issues and get people to actually think about the problems of mail balloting, we are encouraging them to check their ballot status before and after turning the ballot in, and to use the drop box. And again, I know that sounds funny for some other states, This election, we had about 70% of the ballots returned that way, most of them around Election Day. If we can get people going to the drop box, they're way more likely to accept going back to a polling location since we're all mailed in balloting here in Washington State. And then finally, legislation engagement. We're continuing to recruit people to engage. We do have some pretty good tools for people from different sources where they can go onto the legislation site and do a pro and con while the bill is still in committee, hopefully heading it off before it even gets to the floor. So those are the basic things going on in Washington. It is the Wild West out here. And again, just like everybody else, we're struggling with getting people engaged and feeling like they have any say, any power going forward. We were fortunate enough to have 2 initiatives get enough signatures. Will be on the ballot. One is for keeping boys out of girls' sports, and the other one is making sure kids or parents know what's going on in the schools. That will be a really big fight to get those passed on the ballot, and we'll be hopefully using those in our candidate races this year. So again, thank you from Washington State. If anybody's got any extra dollars they want to throw for our legal funds here, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much.